This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
And welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. We are glad to have you with us. I am joined by Michael John Gray. He's the chairman of the Democratic Party of Arkansas. Always good to have you with us. Thank you for being here. And just so our viewers will know, I did invite Doyle Webb, the Republican Party chairman, to join us today. He had a scheduling conflict. He was traveling to the White House for a Christmas party. So maybe next time around you can get one there. We will have him on in the next week or two, though, to make sure that we provide that point of view on some things, too. Let's begin with Josh Mahony, your Senate candidate that dropped out amidst a mystery of a family illness, and I know you have been dealing with this nonstop. Is there any new news on the Josh Mahony front? Have you talked to him or his attorney?
So, no. So let me, real clear, and I appreciate soft way you said that. Josh Mahony was a candidate for the nomination, for the Democratic nomination for Senate. He was no one's candidate. It was Josh Mahony's campaign. No new news. We've reached out to Josh. I think I've seen it reported. I know you guys have, that we scheduled a meeting with him to try to understand this. He nor his attorney participated in that. Absent any, unfortunately, and I wish we had a decision to make, but absent any information from the candidate that filed, and in this case that's Josh Mahony, we can't make a decision. The state statute lays out very clearly how you can replace a candidate, and he hasn't given us any information to replace him.
It has been widely reported that the Cotton campaign, who Mahony would, if he had not had any opposition, he would have been the only Democratic nominee against them, that the Cotton campaign has put out a memo that alleged that they had a lot of opposition research and were prepared to put a lot of that out. This has, again, been publicly disclosed in terms of the memo here. You've not heard from other members of the Mahony family about the condition of whatever it was. Do you think that the Cotton campaign put some sort of squeeze on Josh Mahony?
So there's a couple things there. One, not hearing from other members of the Mahony family is not something that's surprising. Family illnesses, family situations are private, and fortunately we live in a world where privacy isn't as valuable to some as it used to be, but you have to respect that. So I don't take anything from that. I do not subscribe to the theory that they put the squeeze on Josh. However, it says a lot of things about our political system that an incumbent senator would take credit for utilizing the process in such a way that would infer that they almost had some sort of blackmail, may not be the fair word, but something to that nature to get a candidate out where he didn't have an opponent. It's sad to think that if I was a U.S. Senator, I would take credit for operating that way. I know what happened. I know the information that came out about the Mahony discrepancies on his filing was not new. It had come out months before, reported in the Democrat Gazette. I had extensive conversations with Josh and his campaign team, as well as members of the media that had reached out to me about it, about the mistakes or the amendments that needed to be made, and that's truly what we believe they were and what was shown to me that they were. And so I think this is just an unfortunate event, and that's being polite about it, but at the end of the day, only Josh Mahony really knows what's going on.
Impeachment has been front and center in national politics. We've heard lots of deflection, lots of focus on all this. What's at the heart of this for you? Is this the proper move for Democrats in Congress to make? And
I think,
why is there not any Republican buy-in, do you think?
So let's take Democrat and Republican label off of it for just a second. Is it proper for people that we elect to go to Washington to represent us to say something doesn't look right? There seems to be collusion or conversations. There seem to be some high-up people that are operating in a manner that is beneath how the United States ought to be operating. We should look at that. That is the responsibility of our elected representatives. It so happens that it's a Republican president and a Democratic House of Representatives, but they still have that responsibility. Sometimes we have to take, how does this poll in Michigan or Arkansas, that should come off the table. They have a job to explore any issues such as this, and they should be doing that.
Well, Republicans in Arkansas's congressional delegation, by and large, say this is not an impeachable offense, that what the president has done does not rise to the level. Well, not all of them. I just several that I've talked to and gotten on the record have said that they don't agree with that at this point in time.
Because we know how impeachment polls in Arkansas, to be real honest with you. I think that the system that is set up so there aren't predisposed opinions on this. We should hear the facts, should take the partisan labels off of it and make a decision. But I will say at least one member of our delegation decided that they didn't have the bandwidth to participate in these proceedings and then made that decision.
Well, you can get to spell that out. You're referring to Representative Rick Crawford in the 1st District, who allowed a substitute
Congressman Crawford
House
decided
Intelligence Committee.
to
You
not
guys didn't field a
participate.
candidate against him either, so I mean,
That's
what
correct.
does that say?
Well, that frees him up to do what he wants to do, I guess. But at the end of the day, the partisan, I think what Arkansans, probably most people that are watching us this morning, take the partisan labels off this and just show us the facts. Don't invent facts, but don't ignore facts either, and then lay it out. Ultimately, the people decide, the people elect our representatives and senators, and that's how this will play out.
Yeah. Despite your call for facts to be laid out and everybody to strip the labels away, it is still being perceived as a partisan impeachment probe.
Sure.
Because Democrats are in pretty much lockstep and agreement with it, and Republicans are 90% plus opposed to it there.
Publicly.
Yes, publicly. Will this be a defining issue in the 2020 race?
I think nationally it is becoming one. I would hope that it's not. I think that the Democratic candidates that are seeking the nomination all have some really good ideas about how to continue to lift up the middle class in America, to work for seniors, for people that want to learn new trades or go to college. I think there's some really good ideas, and I would hope that sometime, maybe it's not going to be 22, but sometime soon, we start having elections on what we're going to do that's going to help the American people.
We have a presidential nomination process in full swing right now. Kamala Harris drops out this past week, but there are still, I think, 15 or 16 candidates in the race. I know you don't get to pick who you would like to see, but do you think that the eventual Democratic presidential nominee will be the face of the Democratic Party going forward?
So that by default, they become the face, at least in the short term, and so until someone replaces them. I want to remind everyone that this time, just a couple of years ago, there were 15 Republican candidates. Donald Trump was seen as just the sideshow. Everybody thought it was Rubio's or Jeb Bush's to lose. And there are a lot of Republicans today that are saying Donald Trump's not the face of our party, but he is. So at least in the short term, the presidential nominee becomes the face of the party.
Give me a prediction for what is going to happen in 2020 for Democrats in Arkansas. How many seats do you think you will pick up in the legislature, and how do you feel about your congressional candidates?
So we've got some good people running for Congress. They're facing uphill battles. Once you go to Washington, you quit working with people and you start working for special interests, and you have a pile of money, and you come back here to do photo ops. You drive old blue trucks and commercials here and BMWs up there. It's just the nature of it. But they're good people that care about Arkansas and are going to work hard. I won't make predictions on that race. I'll tell you they're going to plow a lot of ground that hadn't been plowed for a while. You're going to see some organizational capability that hadn't been there that's going to be built. We're going to pick up some state legislative seats. I'm smart enough not to say how many, to be honest with you, but we have.
You got to play defense on a few too.
We will play defense, but you know what's great about playing defense is when you got good players, it's easier to play defense. And we have some outstanding incumbents that are being challenged, not because they haven't represented their communities or their districts well, but because someone thinks that they have the wrong letter by their name. And until we get away from that and continue to look to who can be best from the area they're from, and we've got those people, and they're going to win.
All right. Michael John Gray is the chairman of the Democratic Party of Arkansas. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. We're back with more right after this.